Hey guys, this is day number 9 of the Rosa 2 Mana Stacking Build Diary for Season 10. Just going to jump in with the regular quick map showcase. This is just what I've been doing. This is TM 8.1. Just been chucking this in with 7 Netherrealm Resonance, and we've just been running the Confusion card one. Some huge upgrades for the build, which we'll talk about in a sec. While I'm just doing this though, I did just quickly want to mention at the start, I have noticed a few comments of people saying that they're following this along. If you actually are and you're having problems, then please do reach out. I'll leave my Discord in the description, and I will also I'll also leave the spreadsheet in the description too that I use, because a couple of people have asked for that. So I'll put links to both in the description. The Discord's just my personal one. You can just add me as a friend and PM me, and then if you have any issues, just PM me there, because that's where you'll get the quickest response. I have gone out of my way to try and not use the word guide, because I have mentioned it before, but this is only my second season. I'm a new player, and I don't really think I'm in the position to make a guide yet, right? So you can follow along, but I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and I do try and be visible about those mistakes, and I do try and draw attention to those, just so in case people are like copying what I'm doing, you actually see that and you actually can fix it for yourself. But still now I'm probably making mistakes, right? So yeah, if you do run into any issues, then please do reach out, and we'll try and figure out what's going on. Just doing the league mechanic here. I've actually started doing the league mechanic in TM8, and it has been really good. It has been loads and loads of currency, really good supplemental currency. Obviously it takes a little bit longer for the map to be done, depending on how well the mechanic rolls. Here we're going to, it says floor 3. Yep, floor 3 out of 4, so actually pretty good, but we've been pretty unlucky on the bubble so far, so this hasn't really been a juicer. I've had some of these that have just spit out like hundreds and hundreds of FE, and that has been absolutely insane. Apparently it gets a lot better in Profound too, so we'll see that when we get there, which should be very soon. As you can see, we are just absolutely melting this TM8 now, and it's because of some upgrades, which I will go into in a minute. I'll be honest with you, this is the first league mechanic I've had to do when I've done a map showcase. It took a little bit longer than usual, but yeah, there you go. We had stuff to talk about anyway, about the whole, fixing your build. If you have issues with it, then reach out. Yeah, I think just other general stuff. We've hit level 98, as you can see by the XP bar. I don't think I died once from 98, or from 97 to 98. Build tankiness is kind of carrying us through this content that we're absolutely destroying, just because our clear's good and just because our DPS is good. Stuff doesn't really get a chance to do anything. As for actually mapping, we've just been doing cube the whole time. Had a couple of juices on the jackpot, reaching sort of close to 1k FE. Just been gambling absolutely everything. Hopefully you're going to see a massive juice cube here, but it's extremely unlikely. Nope, we got probably less than 1 FE there, so unfortunate. Right, so I just have a list of stuff to go through. I'm just going to go and do the DPS check, because you will see here it is kind of a lot better since yesterday. And it's down to a few things which I'll obviously get into. We've changed some skills about, we've made a big investment into the build, and you can see we're benchmarking at sort of 90 mil burst, and we're hitting sort of like 50 bill sustain, sort of like moving up closer to 60 now as stuff is proccing, stuff's coming off cooldown. We've reached 100 bill highest in the last 5 seconds, so yeah, officially 100 bill DPS reach, so quite a big milestone for the build. We've over doubled our DPS since yesterday, so super good. So in order of what I invested in, so as talked about yesterday, This weapon had shadow quantity +1, projectile -1 on it. So we put about 900 FE into this to take the proj quantity off using the FE that we had in the last vid. And it did actually increase our damage by roughly about 15%. So that minus projectile quantity really was affecting our DPS. So if you do get it when you're rolling your weapon, consider taking that off. Other investments we made is we went to tier 1 mana on head, tier 1 mana on body, tier 1 mana on right ring, and that cost about 300 FE total. We removed the dream ethics from our boots because it was minus move speed, and spiral strike actually has baked into the skill. Actually, I felt this, but I wasn't sure if this was the case, but I'm glad I actually checked it because spiral strike actually has 75% of the bonuses for movement speed applied to the additional attack speed of the skill. So if you have minus move speed, it can make your spiral strike slower, and it did actually feel a little bit slower yesterday, so I'm glad I double checked that. Glad that we were actually able to fix that. I put the dream affixes into rings. They are bad at the minute. They are a little bit of attack speed, but they're actually reducing our erosion resistance to the 40s, which I just don't think is good enough for profound. I think I'm going to work on just upgrading all. You can see our resistance modifiers are sort of low. They were good enough to cap us, but obviously now we've got some downsides. We need to invest a little bit more into that. I'm going to recap these resistances into 60s across the board, and then we're going to start tackling profound. I think with 100 bill DPS, we're sort of looking at the profound level now. I've got some tech for that. I'm going to try it out first before I talk about it. But you know, if you're looking at the inventory, you'll see what it is. But we'll see how that works out tomorrow. It's been a tip off from a friend has let me know about it. Okay, the biggest investment we have made so far in the build, the weapon amplification Phantom has been acquired. This increased our DPS from the 45 bill mark that we were yesterday to around the, I think it was about 80 bill. So it nearly doubled our DPS. We paid 6,500 FE for this, and this was completely funded by gambling on Cube. So gamble and just hit it big, and you are gonna do well. Now, to be honest with you, we didn't hit any insane jackpots. We just got a bunch of desire cores. I think the best one was like, I think it was worth like just over 1k FE, and that's just how that's funded this League Mechanic and Cube with the Cube pet. So yeah, even at tier 1, pretty juicer. You go through some dry streaks. Remember to use the Destiny Stones just on the guy over here. If you do a bunch of cube, you have a load. And I actually wrote out a little calculator on the sheet. You can see here, Divinity Stone conversion. You just put in how many. You just put in what is the FE ratio here, and you put in the how much FE everything costs here, and this will tell you what is the like efficient cost, if that makes sense. So for every yesterday when I handed that in, and some today to be fair, but the price didn't change. But yesterday when I did the bulk of my hand-ins, it was 45 Divinity Stone per FE. So when you're looking at actually buying them from the vendor, sort of like the 30 mark is pretty good. Goes down to like 20s, which is obviously excellent, but above sort of like 32 to 35, you don't really want to be buying them because you're starting to get to the point where you could make more just by selling them. Because you have to include that each reroll costs nearly 1 FE. So each time you do it, minus 1 FE worth of Divinity Stones. So that is an extra big bump on just raw FE. So that was how we funded the Phantom. So yeah, that is that. That is that sorted. We are gaming. We did have to take a little bit of a hit on the max mana. one thing I wasn't willing to compromise on was the 15% life sealed when at full mana. And again, if I just reference the sheet, I can't remember where I actually put it, but I made a small chart which I will extend to include corrosions. If you see here, phantom breakpoints. So when you have 15%, you can hit +6 level, but if you have 16%, you can only go to max +5. So that is why I was unwilling to move on the 15%, and I ended up paying. I think the 16% ones were about 5,500 when I checked. They went up so much the last couple of days, and honestly, I think it's because Alkaiser swapped the mana and is just showcasing how good the build is. So I think a few people have followed him now that they're off their league starter, and it has just sent the price of some of this stuff up a lot. So uh, when I checked them, just after I chucked up the video yesterday, they were like 4,500, but yeah, I had to pay 6,500 for mine. So a, a bit extra. Luckily, gambling funded that, so just hit it big on Cube. Um, Next up, we brought a corroded belt. This was, I think, 300 FE roughly. Might have been 298 or something. And we got the corrode for the spell damage. Now, the spell damage, even though we're an attack build, I will just point it out here because it has been brought up again. On the Rosa 2 first hero trait, bonuses and additional bonuses to spell damage also apply to attack damage. So this gave us an extra couple of 100% attack damage. So that is why we went for this, and we also blended for +1 to attack skill level on the base affix there. So that's that. That was nice and cheap. I would recommend getting one of them very early. I think it was 45 FE for the +1 to attack skill level, and it's just a little optimization you can do, right? Next up, what we have changed. We have changed our skills quite a bit. So I went from the defensive node, I can't remember what it is, defensive barrier. We went from defensive buffer to burst of anger with like very similar links. This is just on autocast. This is up for 100% of the map. It gives 8% additional attack damage. Physique, I'm honestly not sure what physique is. And it just drains our health. This was just the aggressive choice. I think we'll go back to defensive barrier for profound, just because I really want to protect that XP that I'm building up. Another thing we changed is we didn't actually change Bull's Rage. We were looking at links in our main hand. So I'm going to be looking at these over the next few days now that I'm sort of free of the bigger investments on the build, which is namely getting Shadow Quan on the weapon, getting the actual weapon set up in the first place, and obviously that big Phantom, which was the big cost that was just Lumen, and now we've got that out of the way, we can just chip away at the smaller stuff. So that was a change from yesterday. Also going to take a look at auras. I've seen some people on ladder using different setup to me. This is the best setup that I could find at the time, but obviously as things change in the build, they just constantly, get better and worse depending on your setup. So looking forward to the next thing, I think the next thing we're looking at is getting our affixes sorted on rings. Now these are about 60 FE per slam. And we want to get Timid Curse, which would let us use Burst of Anger and the defensive barrier. Potentially Blizzard instead of the defensive barrier if defense isn't a problem, but I think we're going to have to start investing more into that. And I think the other one is like adds 20% of cold as a different damage, I think, or adds 20% of fizz as cold, something like that. I think that is what is next. We're getting the rings sorted. After that, we're probably looking at a Glacial Caster Shield Corrode. I think we can go up a little bit more in DPS from this, or maybe even a whole lot more. Who knows? This is where all of our flat is coming from, so that is, potentially next. And then other sort of things I need to start looking at are incrementally improving our slates. Need to get a better ethereal prism, and stuff like loot filters, never realm trees, if we can optimize that a little bit. And then finally, since we're sort of dragging on in the season, I say that the season's only really been out for 9 days, but we're sort of getting to the point now where the PoE 1 season is looming. I need to start looking at the season goals I have for the rest of this, so I actually have to start making progress towards, filling out this like completing boss conquest up to a decent level. We're at only 1896 at the minute. Supreme Showdown, I really want to get Supreme Showdown 20 done, but I'm not sure if those 2 days that we were offline earlier in the season are just going to cost us that. I think we'll get close, but I'm not 100% sure if we'll make it, but we'll really try. And then filling out this path of progression. So that's what I sort of need to start looking at and start making a more concentrated effort towards going towards. So yeah, that was day number 9. And good luck. Hope you have as much luck as me on those cubes. And see you tomorrow for day number 10.